Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Become the Strongest Being in Multiverse Season 2 Part 3. Before we start, please go support John 354 for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Issei is a male in this story. Chap. 31. Issei called Shichigami, and with that the portal opened, leaving Isabella a little surprised. They were both about to enter that Isabella turns around to look at her world one last time. Issei. Something's wrong. Isabella. No, nothing, just seeing that place for the last time. The truth is I'm not going to miss it, it just gave me problems. Taking Issei's hand and both entering the portal. Upon leaving the portal, Shichigami quickly went to Issei, giving him a hug. Shichigami. I missed you. Issei. I say the same, and how are you? Shichigami. Good, and don't worry, nothing bad happened in your absence. Issei. I'm glad about that. Shichigami. Well, I'll send you home. See you later. Issei. Seriously, that sounds good since you don't always go. Shichigami. I'm solving that. Giving Issei a kiss on the cheek and creating the portal, and thus both entering. Upon leaving, Issei entered the house. Issei. I'm home. Drawing the attention of those present to Issei's surprise, since all the girls were there. Except the girls. They were happy and were about to go hug him, but they saw Isabella. Kian Renksu. Issei, who is she? He was about to speak, but they beat him to it. Isabella. I am Igarashi Isabella, Issei's wife. When they heard that, everyone was surprised since that was news. Issei was about to say something, but he felt a chill and looked around, and it was mostly girls. Siko. Oh dear Issei, it's time for an explanation. I go to him and take him by the collar of his shirt from behind and take him to the living room, where the girls removed the furniture and put Issei in the center while they surrounded him in a circle with their hands crossed. Astrid. Speak. Isabella. That's how things are. Enemu. We want to know what happened and we'll see what those things are like. Issei just let out a sigh and began to explain how he came and got involved and caused many disasters. Belfast. It's normal for you to cause problems, it's in your blood. Who knew? It's not fair, someone already beat us to getting married. Mocha. Then the only thing left to do is get married. Serafal. I like that idea, it should be done. Issei. Wait, there's no need to rush things, I want that day to be very special and to your liking. I don't want it to be in a hurry, and we are not spouses-in-law yet. Isabella. For me, yes. Lefei. Better to leave it that way. Astrid. How do you want our wedding to be, Issei? Issei. Whatever you decide is fine with me. As long as you are happy I am. Office. I'm glad to hear that. But I see that they didn't waste time, I smell a smell on it and it's very strong. Hearing that, Issei didn't know what to say. And the girls noticed it and they all looked at each other and nodded. Enemu. Issei, it's time for you to be punished. Laviana. You won't get out of this very easily. Margarita. This will be fun. Issei. What happened to me? Mikishin approached Issei and grabbed him by the collar of his shirt again and began to drag him to the top floor of the house. The girls went after them. Issei asked many questions but did not receive any answers. Upon reaching the top floor, Vados created a door that surprised Issei. Issei. Since when is that door there? Roswis. For a long time. Issei was about to say something, but then a portal opened and it was Shichigami. Shichigami. It's good that you're on time. Issei. You didn't know this would happen. Shichigami. A little haha. Rafia. It's going to be a long few days. Maruko. Kurama, when the girls and Issei's clone come, tell them that we are going on a trip and don't tell anyone that Issei came back. Kurama didn't say anything and left in a ball of smoke. Claire also asked Drake to come out just like Yukin did to Abyssing, who was a black dragon. Issei. Guys, help me please. Greg. I'm sorry Issei, but when it comes to women it's better to be scary when they're upset. Abyssing. Good luck. Hearing that, Issei let go of Mikishin's grip and was about to leave, but Airide and Amaterasu grabbed his legs and started dragging him inside. Vados. When you are inside you will not be able to teleport, we made many configurations. Issei. Help. The two dragons and the kitsune just put their paw on his forehead. Kurama. With honor until the end. Issei just shouted one last time as the door was closing. Greg. He was very young, but things happen for a reason. Abyssing. Well, who's hungry? Greg. Me. Kurama. Maybe we're going for something. The three of them going to the kitchen. Meanwhile Issei was in front of many girls. Issei. Isabella, help me. Yes. Isabella. You know this will be fun so I'll join in too. The girls just smiled and they all took off their clothes, leaving them only in their underwear. Issei. Wait Gabriel, Griselda, Irina, you guys. Mikishin. They will be fine, plus we told you that this room has a lot of things. Well, let's stop talking and start the fun. Pagaya. Today you will run out of energy because you will have a lot of work, or maybe you are afraid. Issei. I'm afraid. Misako. You won't be able to beat us. Issei. You know, I like the remains and if that's what they want, so be it. Having a smile on her face and taking Bastard in her hands. One day passed where some girls were already happy, but Issei was not finished yet and continued with the others. They asked him not to use clones and Issei accepted. A week passed where Issei had already been with all the girls. Brunhild. You can go now, you are forgiven. Issei turned around and they noticed Issei with shiny eyes. Issei. I'm just getting started. Taking the leg of the closest one I feel Astrid. The others, noticing that, said to themselves at the same time, we won't get out of here for a while. Lucina went to the door with the intention of leaving, but when she tried to open it she couldn't. Issei. I spent this week setting up the room, now I'm in charge. They won't get out of here until I say so. Lucina hearing that close to her ear gave her a chill, and she was about to say something, but Issei took her in his arms. Meanwhile in the room. Iri. Dragoni-chan, you know where my moms are. The two dragons and Kurama, hearing that, got a little nervous. Greg. They're in a meeting. Sarada. All at once. Kurama. You know how they are, they have a lot of work to do. Yui. Well that's true. How long will they take? Abyssing. We don't know, it's just to be expected. Nobody said anything else and they continued watching TV. In the room it had already been 2 more weeks where Issei was lying while the girls were asleep. Siko. In the end we were the ones punished. Issei. I expect punishments like this in the future. Enterprise. You can't be punished, it's impossible. Issei. Too bad. Claire. You were quickly guided by your instincts. Issei. It was their fault for being so cute. Kissing Claire as she was on her chest. At that Issei closed his eyes since he was a little sleepy just like some girls who were awake. Chap. 32. It was a new day and Issei woke up earlier and got up carefully and left the room towards the kitchen to make breakfast for his partners and the girls. Later Grafia was going down to the living room with Belfast since they always did and when they saw the table already made and with a lot of food they were more surprised to see Issei with an apron. Issei. I'm glad you woke up the way you did. Grafia. Very good and the truth is that all this is a surprise. Issei. I like to see her smile so I get up early to make her favorite meals. Belfast walked up to Issei and gave him a kiss. Belfast. It's very beautiful, thank you. Issei. I'll do whatever you want. But hey, go wake up the others and it's already late for the girls. They both nodded and went to look for the rest while Issei finished arranging things. Minutes later everyone was at the table. Iri for her part was on Issei's lap since she missed him for a long time. Yui. Dad, what are you doing today? Issei. I'm going to the underworld, I must talk to Surzich about something. Serafal. And that. Issei. It's nothing dangerous, don't worry. I better go now so I can come back sooner. Isabella, if you want something, tell the others. Isabella. Don't worry, we already get along well since we were together for a long time. Plus I want to know more about the girls. They were happy to hear that and Issei just nodded and left the place, appearing outside the mansion. Where the dens, upon recognizing him, quickly let him enter. Issei walked for a few minutes until he reached his destination. Issei. Hey Surzich, how are you doing? Surzich. Good thing it brings you here since you haven't been here for a while. Surzich and the others did not know that Issei had gone and left a clone. Issei. I wanted to spend time with my family. Surzich wanted to ask you a favor. Surzich. If it's in my hands. Sure, you tell me. Issei. I want Grafia to be free, I know it's a lot to ask for. Surzich. I knew that this day the truth would come. And don't worry, I'll do it when she sees it. Issei. I'm glad to hear that it won't affect you. Surzich. Not at all, besides I just walked through a lot of paperwork and she doesn't leave my side. She also imagines that she wants to do missions with the rest of your girls and with you. Issei. I guess. So thank you very much. Surzich just nodded and Issei was about to leave, but Surzich stopped him. Surzich. Issei, I need a favor if you can. Issei. Of course I also owe you one for Grafia. Surzich. Sona and her group went to see the vampire faction, but I have a bad feeling and I want you to go just in case. Issei. I understand, if that's the case, don't worry, I'll go. I'll take someone with me. Surzich. Of course you can go today. Issei. It's okay, the faster the better. Opening the door and leaving the place. Where he teleported to his house and arrived on time since most of them were about to leave. Issei. Phew, it's good that I arrived on time. Gabriel. Something's wrong. Issei. It's not that important. Siko, Isabella, Matcha and Misako, we're leaving. Mocha. Where? Issei. To Romania. Serafal. To the vampire faction. Mocha and Misako were surprised to hear that. Serafal. Sorry for not telling you sooner. Misako. It will be interesting to meet other vampires from this world. Enemu. And because they will go. Isaka. At the last meeting they told me that the Citri group went there, that's not the case. Issei. That's right. And Surzich asked me. Rafia. What did you go to talk to him about? Issei. He will tell you. But hey, we have to go, the faster the better. Eri. Tuchan, you'll be back soon. Issei. If you don't worry, I'll bring you all a souvenir. When the girls heard that, they were happy and hugged Issei to say goodbye, since they were going to leave with Kunu and Yusaka heading to Kyoto. Both Kitsune said goodbye to Issei and left with the girls. The four that would go with Issei went to their rooms to pack what they needed, while Issei spent one last time with the others. Issei. Tell me, Office, how things are going with the dragons. Office. Since you already defeated 2 kings, several agreed to help you, some of whom were already in favor since they knew about you. Others still don't accept you, but don't worry, I'll take care of it. Issei. Thank you. Lefei. Issei, can I ask you a favor? Issei. Whatever you want. Lefei. At the academy where I studied for a while they asked me to come back and teach, and well they also asked me to be you. Issei. But I don't have magic, well that's what I think, the chakra counts and the limit force doesn't. Pagaya. I think so. Isabella. I guess. Issei. I will do what I can and when it would be. Lefei. When you come back there is no rush, don't worry. Issei. I see. Astrid. Issei, my grandfather asked me if you go visit him when you have time. Issei. Sure, but why? Brunhold. Oh, it's true, he had forgotten. The party is going to be held in your name and well the citizens asked Odin-sama for you to go. Issei. Okay, I'll go. Mikishin. You have a lot to do that will make you send clones. Issei. I won't go myself. Oh yes, I already remembered, Mikishin, you can train Isabella well if you have time or else your Vados or Margarita. Mikishin. Sure, but you should know one thing, Isabella. Isabella. And that would be it. Mikishin. The best student I ever had was my beloved Issei, so it will be difficult for you to surpass him. Isabella. I know it will be impossible to beat, but I will do my best, maybe one day I will beat him. Alicia. Ha, I don't think even if we all fought together we wouldn't even scratch him. Issei. That's really exaggerating. You are also strong because as I saw in the memories that I owe the clone, you have trained very hard these days. Haruka. But not like you. Issei. Well, let's leave the fights out of this house. Haruko. They won't be back for a while. Issei. I hope I don't want to be with my family. Hinata. I hope it goes well for you. Aviana. Take care of yourself and don't let yourself be provoked. Issei. There are only a few things that make me angry, one is that you mess with my daughters and little sister, and also my niece, and another is that someone touches a single hair of yours in my presence. Roswis. That's why you hardly take us since you do everything. Prince. That's true, you kill them all. Issei. I'd rather be safe than sorry. The girls just smiled at him since they liked that overprotective part of Issei, since that means he loved them a lot. They could be jealous too, but only when they noticed when a girl only approached Issei out of interest. Minutes later, those who would go with Issei got off and Issei said goodbye to the others and the group went to the airport heading to Romania. Siko. This will be interesting, what kind of food will be there? Masako. That's the only thing that interests you. Siko. I just like it. More when Issei cooks for me like this morning. Issei. Learning to cook much better for all of you, don't worry. The girls were happy to hear that, Misako on her part just nodded, but inside she was happy. Since Issei always kept her promises. Issei thoughts. I will look for a way to improve, I will have to find a teacher. Chap. 33. The group was on the plane heading to their destination. Issei. How long will the flight take? Mocha. We went out not long ago, I think about 3 hours. Issei. That's a lot. Isabella. Control yourself a little. Misako. She's right, you look like a child acting like that. Issei. But you don't like it that way. Giving him a smile, Misako noticed this and just looked away. Siko for her part just laughed when she noticed that and she approached Issei and leaned on her shoulder. Siko. Ami, I do like that part of you, it's fun. Mocha. Ami too, since that's partly how I am too. Isabella. It will be a long trip. Misako. And you say it. Issei. Tell me, Misako, how Mocha is doing with her training. Misako. Well, she doesn't do it badly, but it still fails her a lot since she has never fought. Issei. I see, I wish you luck, Mocha. Stroking her hair, she just smiled when she noticed that. The group continued talking until after a few hours they reached their destination. Already in Romania, the group headed to their destination where the vampires were. Issei. Now that I think about it, which side will we go, since from what I read in these reports, the vampires are divided into two, which are the Teeps and Carmilla. Misako. Where did that group go? I imagine the leaders must have informed them that we are not going. Issei. Well, the truth is they didn't warn them, so we'll have to do it on our own. Also, we can't call them since we would attract the attention of the vampires. Mocha. The truth is I'm excited to be able to meet other vampires. Issei. I see, well, without any other option, we will go in 2 groups. Melascula along with Seiko will go with the Camilla group and the rest of us will go with the Teeps. Seiko. Because I have to go there. Issei. Their women rule more and they will also be welcomed quickly if Misako shows a little of her aura. Well, we will have to enter secretly. Seiko. I see, I wish you luck. Issei. Well, if something happens, call me and we'll go see what happens, okay. Both girls nodded and went their separate ways as they were about to reach their destination. Issei, for his part, took both girls by the waist and began to run at great speed so as not to be seen. When they entered the place he used a jutsu to change everyone's appearance and a little their aura so as not to attract attention. Issei. Well, where do you want to go? Mocha. Wow, this place is very dark. Issei. Yes, plus it's always cold. Isabella. But you don't feel cold. Issei. I say this because you want a sweater. They both nodded and started walking to look for a store until they reached one and bought one for each of them. Mocha. Where are we going? Issei. We could ask but the vampires are very proud here so we will have to search on our own and the place we will go will be to that castle. Isabella. It was to be seen and we will look there. Issei. Information and if we don't find anything we'll go look for Misako and Seiko. They both nodded and headed towards their destination. Meanwhile the other 2 entered without much problem. Seiko. Well, I don't see them, how about we go eat something? Misako. Maybe you only think about food. Seiko. What can I say, I plan to try new things. Let's go and it's a little late and we haven't eaten anything. Misako. On the flight we ate something. Seiko. That was just an appearance. Misako. Okay, let's go get something. Seiko smiled big and took Misako by the hand to look for a place. After several minutes searching, they found a restaurant and just entering they were surprised to see the Citri group there. Seiko. There's no need to keep searching. The group turned around and were surprised to see them there. Sona. What are you doing there? Misako. Surzich sent us here just like Serafal to see if they don't cause problems. Seiko. Let's talk while we eat. Going to the table where they were. Seiko. You are that girl who went to ask Issei for help, not what your name is. Asami. Asami and thank you for helping me. Seiko. I already remembered, you are Issei's sister. The truth is that it surprises me that he helped you despite how you treated him. Asami. I know. Head down. Seiko. But hey, it doesn't matter anymore. Misako. And why did you come? Sona. To find a way if we can make an alliance. Misako. That's not what leaders always take care of. Sona. I know but I told them I could do it. Seiko. And how are you doing with that alliance? Saji. Very good, but let's leave the boring topics and tell us about yourself. Since now we will be a team. Seiko. Brat, don't talk to me like that, maybe you don't know how to respect people. Saji. But we are the same age. Seiko. Yes, as you say, and better shut up, don't you see that I'm about to eat? Sona. Saji stop bothering. He just clicked his tongue since they had despised him. Sona. Getting back to the topic, only you came. Misako. No, my sister and a classmate also came with Issei, only they left with the Sods. Saji. Seriously, they sent a useless person. Seiko. Well, that useless guy as you call him saved your ass that time, but he also had more battle than your brat. What's more, he has seen things that you will never see even in your dreams. Showing him a mocking smile. Saji. Talk to me with respect, I have Dragon King Vitra. Seiko. Puffin that's what I care about. Misako. Seiko stop bothering the boy, he might get angrier. Saji. Who are you calling boy? I am going to show you that I am not a child, come with me and you will know what it is to be a man. Misako. For me there is only one man and for me the rest are just children. So you better shut up and stop talking nonsense. Sona. Saji stop bothering me now. Saji. Kaicho they started. Sona. I said stop bothering you, don't make me bother. Misako. Back to the topic. You have to solve this quickly and then return since there is a lot to do. Tsubaki. But we haven't been able to talk to the leader yet. Misako. The problem is that you don't insist. I better do it, it will be faster. Seiko. Hey, don't go causing a problem or it will go badly for us. Misako. It doesn't matter. Seiko. If you do something you know Issei might get mad at you. Misako did not respond since Seiko was right. Momo. They're afraid of him. Seiko. Not good at all, except when he gets upset there if he's scary. But when he is calm we bother him, it is very fun to do it hahaha. Asami. Now that I remember, on one occasion I ran into him at the mall with 2 girls who they were. Seiko. She is my daughter and little sister. The group was surprised when they heard that. Tsubaki. How is that possible? Asami. It's true they look like 10 or more big. Plus Issei is only maybe 17 years old. Misako and Seiko looked at each other and just smiled. Siko. Ha 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 ha, if you knew the things my beloved has done your head would explode. But hey, it's better to go, there's a lot to do. Asami. You'll tell me about the girls. Misako. Just one more thing, we have another daughter and her name is Yui. Just saying that, they both got up from their seats, leaving the group in shock. Chap. 3. 4. Issei and company entered the castle secretly so as not to have problems with the vampires. After evading several hideouts they looked for information but nothing. At that point they went down to the top floor and continued searching. Mocha. Issei, I don't like these places, we can leave. Issei. It's fine if you want that. They were about to leave, but as they passed through a door Issei felt an aura and stopped. Issei. There's someone here. Isabella. Well, it's partly a prison. Issei. I know, but if you concentrate well there is no one else here. Isabella closed her eyes to concentrate better until she felt nothing and only a small presence near her. When she opened her eyes, she nodded at Issei and walked a little to the door until she opened it. Whoever it is, leave, I don't want to be bothered, please. She said it with a voice without many emotions. Issei. You're fine. Since the entire room was dark and he barely looked but the girls looked very well. Little by little Issei was able to adjust to the sight and saw someone lying there. If I'm fine, just leave if I don't want to see anyone else. Mocha. You look tired, something's wrong with you, please trust us. I can't do that since they haven't just used me for experiments. Issei. What are you talking about? You must know it, everyone knows it. Issei. The truth is we are not from here since we came looking for some people. Removing the jutsu of the three. The person saw them and was a little surprised as he noticed a demonic aura, one vampire and one human. What do you want here to make you come down here? Issei. The truth is we were just exploring and we noticed you here. I've been here for a long time and I'm tired of so many experiments. Issei. What kind of experiments? I know we barely met but trust us, you know we can help you if you want. My older brother. I want to get out of here and look for my childhood friend that I helped him escape from here years ago. Issei. And what's his name? Asper. Issei already knew who he was and the person noticed. You know him right? Issei. Yes but. Issei. He and his group joined a group of terrorists a long time ago, I'm sorry. The person upon hearing that only shed a tear since he had lost his only friend. Mocha approached and took his hand. Mocha. I know how you feel, there was a time when I was alone for a long time and I also lost my only friend. I don't have anyone else anymore. Mocha. I can be your friend, well if you want, since the truth is I like making new friends. But you must belong to the Camilla's faction. Mocha. I am someone free, I do not belong to any faction. Tell me you want to go with us and see new places. I am weak and you should also know that the sun affects us. Mocha. Ami no. Besides, here is Issei, he will be able to do something, since he always achieves the impossible. Issei approached them both and nodded and took out a piece of paper from her bracelet and began to make a seal. And when she finished it she put it on her forehead and it disappeared. Issei. Tell me you want to go out. I really can do it. Isabella. Of course no one can be locked up so we better go. Because they help me. Mocha. It's not good to be alone. Giving her a smile which she reciprocated. Issei approached her and took her in his arms since he was still weak. Mocha. By the way, my name is Mocha and this is Isabella and this is my beloved and best friend Issei. My name is Valerie Teeps. Issei upon hearing that name was surprised since she had heard it in the past when she had the mission to go save the other self from her. Issei. My pleasure. If you need something tell me. She just nodded at him and they started walking towards the exit. When they left the ground floor they heard several explosions everywhere and the group went to the window to see. Issei. They arrived. Valerie. Who? Issei. The Cows Brigade. It was faster than I thought. Isabella. You knew they would come. Issei. Partly yes. But it was sooner than I thought. Let's look for the others to be safer. Valerie, please hold on tight, I have to go quickly. She just nodded and with that the group took out their wings flying at great speed to go look for the rest. Meanwhile the other girls were fighting some demons. Siko. This is annoying. Disintegrating a demon that was going against her. She was going to leave until someone spoke to her and she knew that voice very well. Riaz. Long time no see. Siko. It's serious again, you. Last time you escaped and today what will you do? She said it mockingly, making Riaz angry. Riaz. You were lucky and where you got that power from doesn't belong to you. Siko. It would be the other way around since I've had it for years. Riaz didn't say anything and created several magic circles just like Siko. Misako killed everything she got close to. Saji. I like that they are aggressive. Misako. You were the traitor, that's not why they came from nowhere. Saji. What can I say, they gave me many offers and I also have a friend there. Misako. I see. Saji. You're also very pretty. I will knock you unconscious and then make you mine since you are very beautiful. Misako. Dreaming doesn't cost you anything, brat. Saji got upset when he heard that and went to attack with his armor. Issei on her part arrived at the place and saw several vampires fighting to defend themselves. Issei. Mocha, Isabella, take care of yourselves and protect Valerie, I'll go help. They both nodded and Issei left Valerie with them and left the place to look for the rest of her group. As she ran she saw Asami who was barely walking. Until she fell to the ground, Issei noticed she went to her and turned her around and saw many wounds. He was about to heal her, but she stopped him. Asami. Please don't do it. Issei. Because if I don't do this you could. Asami. I know and I'm fine with it. I did a lot of bad things in the past and just by following my family's instructions. It's time I pay for what I did. Issei. You didn't do anything wrong and I want my daughters to meet their aunt. Asami. Forgive me Issei for everything I did to you. Releasing a tear. Issei. I told you no before. I forgave you a long time ago since you didn't do anything. Let me help you yes. She just shook her head with a smile and raised her hand and caressed Issei's cheek. He took her hand and all he had to do was wait until she dropped her hand and closed her eyes, but with a smile as she was able to leave peacefully. Issei laid her on the ground and let a few tears fall, as he had lost someone in his family with whom he was beginning to get along well. Just then she heard some footsteps and turned around. Issei. You were not. Hero. As I said before, she was no longer of any use to me. Issei stood up with a serious look and extended his hand creating a red sphere and placed it on Asami's body, where she began to disappear at the end of the pieces she went to look for her king. Issei. So that they don't use it for her plans. Hero. I don't care. It's time to finish everything. Issei. For the first time you are right about something and you will not escape and I will make sure that you do not revive. Making seals with their hands and creating a barrier. Chap. 35. Hero did not take importance to what Issei did and that's when he went to attack since he wanted to kill him. For his part, Issei just waited for him and then they both bumped fists, creating a small crack. Hero without wasting time kicked Issei which he managed to defend with his arm, but he still flew out of the place. Hero. Get even better and today you will die. Lendl against Issei and casting many spells to defeat him. Issei. You think I spend it sitting too. Going against him and evading a blow and hitting Hero in the abdomen causing him to spit out blood. At that Issei grabbed him by the head and started hitting him with his knee very hard. When he finished Issei noticed how Hero was regenerating again. Hero. It's useless, you can't kill me, I'm immortal, I'm a god. Issei did not care and went to the attack where he put black fire on his fists. Confident, Hero allowed himself to be hit in the face, but when he did so he flew into several houses. Coming out of the rubble he was very upset as he could not regenerate again. Hero. What did you do to me? Issei. As I remember, you're not a dragon. Well the answer is easy, the answer is no. Hero. How did you get Dragon Slayer magic? Issei. I've killed so many dragons that I've lost count, but that doesn't matter, what's more, what's your eye like and how do you like to use a robotic arm? Hearing this, Hero was upset since he could not regenerate after the fight he had against Issei previously. Hero. You know that day didn't end so badly, in the end I got something. Taking a Jirinja out of his pocket. Issei just watched her curiously. Hero. This will make me very powerful and all of that is thanks to you. Since my parents took away a little of your DNA and Rizavam was in charge of fixing it for me. Injecting it into the neck. Seconds later he fell to his knees as he screamed to the heavens in pain. Then he took off his robotic arm from which another one came out, but it was not human, it was like rotten, and he also took off the blindfold from his eye, it being a black one. Hero. I feel better than before. Seeing Issei with a big smile, he only had a serious look when he saw all that. Issei. Didn't they teach you not to steal other people's things? Hero just laughed and in an instant Issei was in front of him, hitting him in the face, sending him flying through many houses. Issei was a little surprised by his speed and strength. Issei came out of astonishment and stopped and at that Hero was going against him, but Issei stopped his fist. Issei. What's the point of having something of mine if you don't know how to use it? Breaking his arm and kicking him. Hero stopped and his arm returned to normal and at that he took out a bracelet, a sacred gear that Rizavam created for him. When he activated it he had a black armor where he took out a sword and went against Issei. He took out his katana and they both began to clash swords at a high speed where Hero was the one who received the most damage and became more and more annoyed. Causing his body to kill. Hero thoughts. I must kill this idiot soon, Rizavam told me this wouldn't last long. I didn't think this useless guy would have so much power in his body. I want it all. Forming a smile and deflecting an attack from Issei and kicking him. Issei looked up and saw how Hero injected himself with another syringe and how he had a big smile. At that she began to laugh as her body changed and grew larger while horns grew on her head. Several noticed a large monster and were surprised and scared by its great power as it forced some of them to their knees. Issei. The power took you away. Hero. Ha 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 ha, I'm invincible now. She said it with a monstrous voice. Issei. True divine body released. Opening his eyes where a golden light could be seen. At that Issei's body turned golden and grew to Hiro's height. Those outside the barrier were shocked by what they were looking at, but a group of girls were happy since they knew who he was. Saji took advantage of Misako's carelessness and left since she had several injuries. Rias for his part was also about to leave, but as he teleported, he noticed how Siko was with a smile. He was about to say something, but then he noticed how Siko teleported and was behind them, and then Rias cut off Ria's arm. He just screamed in pain as he teleported. Siko. I failed again, but it doesn't matter, I got a memory. Now let's see what my man is capable of. Going to the place of battle. Hiro, seeing how Issei transformed, became upset. Hiro. That power is mine, give it to me. Going against Issei where they both bumped fists. Causing a huge disaster. Issei. This power does not belong to anyone, it was only lent to me for my future fights. Creating a fireball in his hands and throwing it at Hiro where he only created a shield. When he deactivated it, he noticed how Issei was in front of him about to punch him in the face. Hiro didn't have time to react and was hit squarely. Issei at that moment took out the true Longinus and Hiro, seeing it, was surprised but put it aside. Issei turned the spear several times until it turned gold and red. Since he had put Hakai on her. Issei. 10th skill. End of time. Throwing the spear at Hiro and seeing it created several shields, but it was of no use as they were all destroyed in the process. Hiro, noticing this, used his hands to stop the spear, but it was of no use since he couldn't even touch it, since it disintegrated his hands, and then it hit him in the chest, where it began to destroy his entire body. Issei. You won't be able to reincarnate, your soul was erased. Returning to his true form and watching Hiro's body disintegrate. Hiro. Many like me are ready to kill you even more powerfully. Thanks to your DNA everything will be fine. If I gave you a fight, imagine what they will be like, ha 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 ha, I will see you in hell. Finishing disintegrating. Issei. No matter who comes, I will be ready to defeat them. Taking the spear and putting it away. Issei. I must increase my training. Starting to walk in search of the girls. And in that he passed by a place where he last saw the body of his sister. He approached the place and put his hand on the ground and created some flowers around him. Issei. I hope you're happy, Asami. Having a smile on her face and leaving the place in search of the girls. As she walked she saw the destruction next to her, but decided to do nothing as he did not want to attract more attention. Chap. 36. Issei walked for a few minutes until he reached where the girls and the Citri group were. Issei could notice Sona's sadness. Issei. Sorry, I tried. Sona. Okay, it's not your fault, you were able to talk to her. Issei. Yes. Sona. Then it's okay, she was able to leave without a big weight on her heart. Issei just nodded and with that Sona left with her group since they had things to do. While Issei went to see the others. Issei. How did it go? Isabella. They weren't a big deal. But Issei, we have to talk about something important, follow us. He saw the other girls and they nodded and they took the path where only Mocha and Valerie remained. They walked for a few minutes until they reached a slightly destroyed house and then they entered it and went to a room where Issei saw a demon tied up. Issei. And this. Misako. We wanted to see what kind of information we got from him, but he didn't want to cooperate. Siko. We want you to do it, you're better at it. Also that's why we left Mocha there so she can't see. Issei. I see. Approaching the demon. Issei. Tell me what is the purpose of why they attacked this faction. The demon looked up and spat in Issei's face. Seeing that, Isabella was going to hit him, but Issei held out his hand to stop her from doing anything. At that the demon started to laugh. Issei saw that and he did so too until later Issei hit him in the stomach, making him spit out blood. Issei. You better talk or things will go wrong, you decide. You'll have to kill me first. Issei. You know I don't really feel like torturing someone right now, so I'll take the short route. The demon was about to say something until Issei put him in a Jingetsu where she could see his last memories and saw how Euclid was explaining the plan to them. Euclid. His only mission is to distract everyone while Hiro goes to look for the half-vampire. We need his sacred gear so we can completely revive the dragons, since we barely have half. Lord, what did young Hiro take? Euclid. It's something that will help him get stronger. And all that thanks to his useless brother. But it comes at a cost since that boy's blood is lethal. But Rizvam-sama managed to weaken her for a short time. Sir, then it is not complete. Euclid. For now. Rizvam-sama works on it and will soon create something to kill everyone in our path. For now the vaccine will only last for a maximum of 30 minutes and then the poison will take effect. But that's a long time to kill anyone. When the soldiers heard that, they were happy and left the base. And where Issei finished off the Jingetsu by just doing it, he cut off the demon's head. Issei. I see. Misako. Issei, what happened? Issei. They plan to use my DNA to become stronger. Siko. But because of how I know your blood. Issei. I know, but you can only use it for 30 minutes and then the poison will take effect. But I don't understand what use I was to them since they can't copy what I have since nothing is mine. Isabella. Do you think they'll achieve something? Issei. Maybe from what Surzich informed me, that old man is very intelligent and can achieve many things. So you have to be attentive to know what he will do. Siko. I'll be ready to give anyone what they deserve. Issei just smiled and with that the group left the place. After a while they met up with Mocha and Valerie again. Issei teleported the entire group since he didn't want any more problems. When she arrived at his house she noticed that it was empty, so she took Valerie to a room since she was tired. At the end I went down to the room where the girls were. Mocha. Issei, what will happen now? Issei. I must look for the other part of Valerie's sacred gear since right now her power is unstable. It is for that reason that this group went to attack. Siko. Then they will come for her. Issei. I guess, but if they come they must be ready to die. It's already a little late, they help me prepare dinner for when the others come. They nodded and everyone went to the kitchen. Hours passed and the girls were arriving and they were happy to see Issei plus the girls. Rafia. Issei, now I can go with you. Giving Issei a big hug which he reciprocated. Issei. That's how it will be and don't worry, I'll protect you. Rafia. Today was my last day. So from now on I will always be at home taking care of the girls and also training. Iri. Great Rafia Kachan will always be there. The other girls just laughed when they heard that. Later the whole group had dinner while talking about anything. Issei. Astrid, when is the party? Astrid. They're only waiting for you. When you arrive the party will start. Issei. I see, then call Auden and tell him that we will go in 2 days. Astrid. Okay. Irina. Are you sure? Issei. We have to bring some joy and that party will do a lot. Plus I have some time that I go there. The last time I went it was just for a few minutes and I didn't see anything. Brunhold. There are many interesting things. Sarada. I want to see what it's like. Kan Renksu. I went once and it was really great. They all continued talking until they went to rest. The next day Issei went to see Valerie where they talked a little and got to know each other better. Furthermore, Issei wanted her to go with them to the party. At first she refused but in the end she accepted since Issei insisted a lot. Meanwhile in Asgard Astrid had informed Auden where he informed the people and they were happy and began to prepare everything. Auden invited all the leaders of the alliance to make it more joyful. That's when the day of the party arrived and Issei was with the girls ready where Astrid teleported them all, appearing at the castle. Auden. Welcome. The girls went to greet their grandparents where they happily accepted since they loved them very much. At that Auden approached Issei and guided him out. The others went because they wanted to see her face. That's when they arrived at the box and Issei was surprised since there were many people there in front. Upon seeing Issei they began to shout her name. Seeing that, Issei just gave them a big smile and greeted everyone. Auden. That's not all, follow me. Issei just nodded and everyone went down and reached the doors where the dens opened them and walked through the middle of the crowd where they made way for them. After a few minutes they reached their destination where Issei was surprised as were some girls. Since there was a large statue in the center of the city where Issei had his fist towards the sky. Also on the statue below it said Igarashi Issei, the great hero of Asgard. Yui. Wow, that is great. Sarada. I have an amazing uncle. Najir. How cute you look, Issei. Issei. This is a lot. Auden. That's how they wanted it. Issei. I see. At that point he jumped up from the statue and saw everyone present. Issei. Thank you for this, I promise not to disappoint you and I will continue to protect you. Those present only screamed with excitement while applauding. At that Auden started the party. Auden's wife approached the group with a bottle. Auden. He has been holding out this bottle of mead for thousands of years for a great moment and this is one of them. Issei drinks it with me. Issei. It will be an honor. Someone arrived with 2 glasses where they were both served and they clinked their glasses and started drinking. At first Issei didn't like it since he wasn't used to alcohol. After that it was just joy where Issei danced with the girls as well as the girls who happily accepted. Issei even forced Valerie to dance since at first she didn't want to, but then she accepted and was glad to accept since she was having fun doing it. Issei was happy to see his loved ones with great joy. Chap. 37. The party still continued, except for the girls who had gone to rest where Astrid took them to her old room. While the others continued with the party. Gabriel. I'm glad Issei is having fun. Mocha. Despite what happened, he still has his smile. Aphrodite. But in the end she left happy since Issei had forgiven her. Bernald. Let's leave this topic and go have fun too. The others were in favor and also went to have fun. Brah. What a great party, don't you believe it? Issei. Yes, and at a good moment like that, some people stop thinking about fighting. Brah. The only one who thinks about that is you, ha 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 ha. Issei. A little. Brah. I met your daughters and I wanted to ask you if. Issei. Ha 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 ha, I like your but I won't do that thing of compromising my daughters, and if anyone tries it, they will know the consequences. Having a smile on her face that caused Ra to shiver. Astrid listened to a little of what they talked about and took Ra by the ear and led him away from the place. Auden. Hey Issei, the town wants to hear some words from you. Issei. But I already said something. Auden. That was nothing, come on. Issei just nodded and they both went to the box again, and when they arrived Issei saw more people than usual. It's Issei-sama. He is very cute. What beautiful hair, I would like to touch it. I would like a son from him. And so were the screams where Issei didn't know what to say because of some comments. Astrid and Margarita took Issei's arm to show that he already has partners. Auden. Well, leaving those comments. They have something to say. We are happy to know that we will have our hero for a long time. Since you are a god, you are now immortal, no. Issei. Nobody is eternal. But you can't do it. At that Issei approached closer to the box to speak. Issei. Everyone dies but, as long as someone keeps hope, the promises will not die when you decide to keep a dream alive, no matter what happens, even if you run out of tears, you must keep going. As long as you trust in yourself you will achieve great things. Sooner or later we will all leave. There was silence for a few seconds, but then someone started applauding, and then everyone did too, since they liked what he said. Issei just smiled and turned around entering the castle again. Can Rinksu? You will be eternal Issei, I know it. Issei. We'll see. Siko. If you don't comply, it will be bad for you, okay. All the girls nodded while Issei just nodded. At that, the party continued for a few more hours until it ended where the guests left and Issei stayed in the castle as well as the girls. The next morning Issei was in the dining room with Auden. Issei. It was a great party, thank you. Auden. Thanks to you, we had not had such a celebration for years. It must be repeated another time. Issei. Ha 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 ha, you shouldn't exaggerate either, okay. That's when Eri and Sarada arrived. Issei. What are you doing so early? Eri. We just want to see the city. Sarada. It's a new place to see and I have my camera. Issei. Ha 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 ha, they're already becoming adventurers like me. Eri. I want to be like Tu-chan. Going to Issei and giving him a hug. Just then someone else entered the dining room. Or. I'll take them. I want to spend time with my granddaughters. Eri. Great. Tu-chan, we can go with him. Issei. Sure, but you shouldn't wait for Liza and Yui. Sarada. They're in the room waiting. Issei. Well, if so, have fun. Or. Come on girls, it's going to be a long day. They both nodded and left the room. Issei. Auden, I have to go on a trip. Auden. Where are you going? Issei. Sorry, but it's a secret, the girls already know and I said goodbye to them last night. Auden. Now I understand why they didn't leave you alone. Besides the fact that they chased away any girl who approached you, ha 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 ha, I had fun with that as did Zeus. Issei. Please don't make me remember. But hey, I'll leave right now and we'll see you later, and if something happens, tell the girls, they'll call me. Auden just nodded and stood up from his nod and said goodbye to Issei. At the end Issei left the castle and walked a little until there was nothing present and called Chichigami. Issei. Long time no see. Stretching out her arms to receive a hug from her. Chichigami. You missed me. Issei. This question is not asked since it is obvious not to. Chichigami. I know, but I wanted to confirm. And tell me, are you ready? Issei. Sure, and don't worry, I'll look for a lot of information. Chichigami. I know the others told you the same thing, but be careful, you're going to a very dangerous place. Issei. You know me, Chichigami, just like the rest of me. You follow me, the problems are ha 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 ha. Chichigami also laughed when he heard what she said, and then he gave Issei a kiss, and with that he created the portal where he entered. As Issei left the portal he looked to the sides and only noticed a large forest. Issei. What good weather, but because I always appear in a good forest, the truth is, it matters, this is better than appearing in the middle of a battle. At that point she began to walk sideways, and while she did so she took photos to show the girls. While she was doing so she came across a small river, and without missing the opportunity she took off her clothes and entered. Issei. The water is so good. After that party yesterday that relaxes me even more. Maybe this is a good place. Laying down and taking a book out of his bracelet to distract himself a little. Minutes passed and Issei came out of the water since he had things to do. He continued on his way a little distracted until he reached the road. Issei. Well, this street must lead to a town, I guess. Starting to walk, it didn't take him even 5 minutes until he came across many people. Where some carts carried children or the elderly or their things. Curious, Issei approached a person and walked alongside him. Issei. Excuse me, sir, but maybe something is happening where you are going. Boy, don't you know what's happening in the city? Issei just shook his head. Some monsters are attacking the city, and some helped us escape, some were unlucky as they were captured and others killed. Issei. That sounds really bad. You better get away from here boy or you're going to die too. Just after saying that he started walking faster and Issei just stood there. Issei thoughts. I'm sorry girls, but you know how curious I am. I want to see what's going on there. Going to the city, many people talked to him not to go, but Issei just gave them a smile and continued on his way. While he did so he had already separated from the crowd and at that point he began to feel many auras. Issei. This is new and they are not that weak, I better hurry up since, as that old man said there are many people who are in danger right now. Started running to get to his destination faster. Chap. 38. Upon reaching his destination, Issei noticed the destruction and how some continued to escape, but he didn't notice anyone so he started walking. As he did so he looked around and still nothing until he noticed several presences in the castle, so he went there and when he arrived he noticed many people standing there. Well there was one in front of all of them. Issei. What's going on here? How can you move? Issei. I don't know what you mean. So there is still one who remains calm. Issei saw you and noticed the guy's calm face. Issei. This is a question, who is he? He is the captain's murderer. You better get out of here, that guy is dangerous. Poor creatures, I better kill them so they don't continue suffering. At that point everyone heard some footsteps and one of them was happy to see his friend. Because my commandment does not work with you. Because I would feel hate toward someone weaker than me. All I feel for you is pity. That pride. Issei. Friend, this will be interesting. Don't you know the situation we are in and you are all calm here? Issei. Sorry, his words were great. Sorry, my name is Igarashi Issei, a pleasure. Don't you think it's a bad time for presentations? Issei. It could be but your friend will take care of him. And what is his name and his and yours? I'm Ban and the one in the golden armor is Eskener. Issei. My pleasure. And good because they don't move. Ban. It is because of the commandment that he does not allow us to move. His commandment is love allows him to render powerless anyone who harbors hatred within him. Issei. I understand, then you hate him for the death of his captain. I'm sorry for your friend. Ban was about to say something, but he noticed how the place was getting hot. My armor is melting. Issei. How quickly the temperature rose. Ban. Aren't you hot? Issei. A little maybe. Ban. Hey Eskener, stop doing that or we'll end up like fried chicken. He did not respond and continued the fight and then created a large fireball taking his rival away. Issei. Now that he's gone, they won't be able to move. Ban. Yes. And what are you doing here? You shouldn't be evacuated with the others. Issei. I'll be honest, the truth is I was curious and well, I came to see the situation. Ban. Are you stupid or are you waiting for your death? Issei. Neither. Well I'm leaving, the truth is I want to see that fight, it's interesting. Taking a big leap, leaving the place, leaving Ban with a word in his mouth. While Issei, upon making the jump, saw two people in the air and went to them. Issei. Not good view. Upon hearing that voice, both of them turned around since they did not feel his arrival. You have the courage to come here human. Issei. I was going to the place to watch the fight and well I saw you. Furthermore, I notice a very negative energy in you. Take care of him, I don't feel like talking to inferior beings. The other just nodded and went against Issei. When he was about to hit him, Issei evaded the blow and hit him in the stomach, knocking the air out of him. The other, upon hearing a noise, turned around and was surprised to see his companion with her head lowered. Issei. Hey, we were having a talk and you come in crazy attacking me, you lack manners, you know. Damn human I will make you suffer. Issei. I imagine he's your partner because he's flying over there with a big fireball stuck in his face. Upon hearing that, he looked and saw how his brother was being crushed by a fireball. At that he saw Issei with a serious face and left the place upset. Issei for his part did not take it into account and he went to the place of the battle. When he arrived he saw Eskener with parts of the armor destroyed. Issei. It must have been a great fight. Eskener. And who are you? Do you want to fight with me? Issei. I don't feel like fighting at all. Eskener. If you are so calm it is because you must be very strong and you must be with those demons. Issei. I'm not with them. Eskener picked up Rita and wanted to hit Issei with her, but he stopped her with her hand where he caused a crack in her feet. Issei. Excuse me but I don't want to fight. Eskener. That's what the weak say to escape. Issei. I don't want to escape, I just don't want to fight. Releasing the axe that embedded itself in the ground. At that Issei turned around, but just after taking a step he felt a large fireball hit him in the back. Eskener, upon seeing that, turned around since he had already finished, but at that moment he heard Issei speak. Issei. Hey, you went too far. Clearing the smoke where Issei stood without any injuries. Eskener. You're not so weak, you'll help me warm up again. Issei. You are very stupid, you knew that. But if you want to fight to be that way. Eskener didn't say anything and went on the attack. Issei in the same way went against him, evading the axe and hitting Eskener in the stomach, making him spit out a little blood. Issei. You're weak so you won't be able to fight. You will lose. Escanor. And the one who decided it, I will never lose, the only one who decides here that the battle is over is me. Issei. I see. At that Escanor raised his hand and a large fireball began to create and it grew bigger and bigger. While Issei just looked at her in amazement as she grew so much. At that Escanor launched a fireball at Issei where he received the attack squarely causing a large explosion that many people could notice. Escanor. I told you. Issei. You must know one thing. Coming out of a cracker while putting on a new shirt. Issei. My father-in-law is the god of the sun and he gave me his blessing and my girlfriend is also the goddess of the sun and well they gave me the blessing. Escanor. What are you trying to get at? Issei. Anything that has to do with the sun doesn't affect me and I can tell that you depend on it a lot. Escanor. What kind of demon are you that you don't die? Issei. I already told you before, I'm not a demon. Escanor. What are you? Issei. The same as you, a human. Raising the thumb. When Escanor heard that, he started laughing because of what he said out loud. Issei, for his part, also started to laugh when he noticed that. Issei. Hey, why are you laughing? Escanor. Finally a worthy opponent, this will be interesting. Issei. Hey, maybe you want to use me as your punching bag. Escanor. Think what you want. I already decided and so it will be. Issei. No thanks. Turning around and leaving the place going back to the city. Chap. 39. Arriving at the castle, Issei watched a little as two demons arrived and were ready to attack the remaining knights. But then an old man took a few steps forward and invoked a goddess. Issei. Well it was obvious if there are demons there must be angels. Wait, now that I think about it, I didn't meet any angels in Isabella's dimension, this is weird. Looking down again, he was surprised to hear how the goddess refused to fight and flew out of the place. Issei. This is new, an angel refusing to fight. Laughing a little but then the demon girl attacked her since she didn't want to leave her so easily. Where they both began to fight. Issei was falling in front of Ban. Issei. Hey, that was quite a surprise. Ban. You weren't gone. Issei. I just went to see a battle and well it was interesting and tell me who they are. Ban. The girl up there is Derriere of Purity and that guy over there is Monspeed of Retidance. Issei. Interesting, really. At that Issei looked up at the sky and saw how Derriere defeated the goddess, everyone seeing that was shocked, Issei already knew that she was going to die. Issei. Go harder than expected. Seconds later the two demons left the place, just as the group went to where the king was. Issei, for his part, stood there watching the situation of the kingdom. But he shook his head and entered the castle where he was surprised to see a black mask there next to a guy in red armor. Issei. This is what's going on here. You'd better leave again, this place is dangerous. Issei. Don't worry and also what happened to that guy who is on the ground. Ban. That was the commandment of pacifism, everyone who commits murder in front of him dies. Issei. Wow that's bad. And how do you know so much? Ban. She said it recently. Issei. I see. Watching how the knight in red armor dropped two spheres with people inside and like a boy he tried to freeze, but it didn't help much. Seconds later Merlin arrived freezing them. Issei. And who is she? Ban. A companion she is Merlin. Issei was surprised to know her name since in the past she had met Merlin, but in the male version. Issei. I honestly didn't expect this. Ban. Issei, get out of here, it's dangerous, we won't be able to defend you. Issei. Don't worry, I can defend myself. At that Merlin launched an attack where his companions thought that he was going to die for the commandment, but nothing happened that surprised both demons. Issei. Wow that's interesting. Merlin, upon hearing that voice, looked for the origin and stared at Issei to measure his power, but he didn't notice anything extraordinary. He saw him as weak as a civilian. At that she levitated herself and began to talk to the two demons, and thus revealing her true name, scaring the demons. I didn't understand what she said. Merlin. I'm sorry but humans can't understand this language. Issei. You have a nice name. When she said that she stared at Issei in surprise since she understood him. Merlin. How do you know? Issei. I have done so many things in my life and I have heard so many languages that the one you just used is common. Merlin. It takes years to learn it and you're still young. Let's leave this talk for later. Issei did not say anything and then he noticed how the black mass divided into several and tried to escape, but Merlin used a purple whirlwind to capture him, destroying the castle in the process. Issei. Great no. Ban. He always does that. Issei. Well it's time to go I hope to see you soon Ban. Well that's what I would like to say, but a big fight is coming and I want to see it. Ban didn't understand until he heard an explosion and a purple monster came out of there. Issei without wasting time went to the place like others. He walked away since he did not want to run or fly, so Ban and company passed in front of him. When Issei arrived at his destination he saw Meliodas fighting Frodran. Issei. Hey Ban, who is that blonde? Ban. He is the captain, he is still alive. Issei. I'm happy for you. Merlin. What are you doing here? Maybe you don't know what the danger is. Issei. A little, but I like to see interesting fights like these. Merlin. With just one finger that thing could kill you. Issei. Could be. Merlin. You're very carefree, they told you that. Issei. Thousands of times. Watching the fight and how Meliodas beat up Frodrin and even more so after how he was about to self-destruct but a boy arrived to talk to him. In the end the demon did nothing and Meliodas took the opportunity to kill him. Issei. Your captain is a demon, isn't he? Merlin. That's right, maybe it scares you. Issei. Not at all. But they must not let their captain continue like this or he will leave. Anne. What do you mean? Issei. Your friend knows very well, right? She did not say anything. Later Eskner arrived in the weak version of it. Issei seeing him was surprised at how skinny he was. Issei walked while facing Meliodas. Issei. You liked it, didn't you? Hearing that, Meliodas turned around and saw Issei with a calm face. Meliodas. No at all. Issei. If you say so, you can try to deceive others but not yourself. Meliodas. And who are you? I had never seen you. Issei. No one important, someone who came out of nowhere hahaha. Meliodas. You're weird, but I like you. Issei. I say the same. Meliodas. Hey, do you want to fight with me? This battle wasn't interesting. Issei. No thanks because if I do you could enter that phase again. Meliodas. It's not that big of a deal, plus I don't feel magical power in you, so I'm going to hold back. Issei. Let's make a deal yeah. Meliodas. Tell me. Issei. You use all your strength and I will do the same if you win. Well it is obvious that I will die, but if I win you will teach me more about this world. Meliodas. Where are you from for you to say that? Issei. A somewhat remote place and you accepted. Extending his hand, Meliodas just smiled and accepted, squeezing Issei's hand. Some heard that and were surprised. Eskner. The captain won't have it easy. Anne. Because you say so. Eskner. I recently fought him and he defeated me without difficulty. Anne and Merlin were surprised when they heard that and quickly saw Issei where he was already taking an attack position. Meliodas was the first to attack, wanting to hit Issei, but he stopped him with a finger, causing a breeze to blow behind Issei from the crash. Several people seeing that were surprised just like Meliodas since he used a little force. Issei. I told you, don't use all your strength and power. Giving him a small smile and moving quickly to punch Meliodas in the ribs, sending him crashing into a wall. Meliodas. Not bad, I didn't think you would be strong. Merlin. How is it possible the captain's power right now is 60,000 and that boy's is nothing? Anne. This is interesting. Both Issei and Meliodas were fist fighting where they both collided, but Meliodas suffered a little more from the blows. Issei. I use everything Meliodas I want to see how strong you are being a demon. Meliodas. You'll regret it. Issei. We'll see. At that Meliodas jumped back and activated the mark and his eyes became blank. He quickly attacked Issei, giving him a blow that sent him crashing. Merlin. His power increased again. Issei was walking out of the rubble while being dusted off. Several were surprised to see it as if nothing had happened. Issei. Not bad, you're strong. Taking a step forward and taking out the true Longinus, several people upon seeing it were surprised to feel a great sacred power from it. Meliodas took a few steps back. Issei. Sorry, I got the weapon wrong hahaha. Putting it away and taking out the spear from his 100 armor. Merlin. Where do you get those weapons from? Issei. They are very valuable gifts. Going into the attack, colliding with Meliodas' dagger. Chap. 40. Both young men clashed their weapons, causing a great breeze. Issei just smiled at that as did Meliodas since he wanted to measure his power. Then they both jumped back. Meliodas. Not bad, you're strong despite not having magical power. Issei. Well I don't have that, but I have other things. Making hand seals and seconds later he launched water bullets. Seeing that, Meliodas used a counterattack, returning the ability. Issei, seeing that, just stretched out his hand, consuming all attacks. Issei. That was really great. Then all that remains is to fight with fists. Putting away the spear and attacking at a great speed that Meliodas did not know how to see. Until Issei appeared in front of him, giving him a blow in the stomach that sent him to the sky while he copied blood. When he fell Issei kicked him and when he was about to crash Issei grabbed him by the neck. Issei. Not bad, you managed to resist a lot. Meliodas returned to his normal self, spitting out some blood and smiling. Meliodas. You are strong. Issei released him where Meliodas was barely getting up. Elizabeth came to help him. Elizabeth. Mr. Meliodas is fine. Meliodas. Not really, but having you around yes. Touching her chest. Seeing that, Issei didn't know what to say because of his attitude. Meliodas. Don't worry, this is normal. Issei. I see. Taking a few steps back. Anne. You're not weak, it'll be fun. Issei. You guys are weird, but I like you hahaha. Where they both squeezed their hands. Ban used strength to try to break Issei but nothing. Issei used a little of his own, causing Ban's hand to break into pieces. Issei, noticing that, let him go and was about to say something until he saw how he regenerated. Ban. Not surprised. I'm immortal. Issei. Wow, I didn't expect that, that's great. Ban. I know, so you won't have a chance if you fight me. Issei. You know I fought with many immortals and well in the end almost all of them died. Ban. You're kidding, right? Issei. Yes, hahaha. Ban. You're right, they're not immortal for a reason. Merlin approached Issei and stabbed him with a sword through his back. Everyone was surprised when they saw that, but they noticed Issei's still calm face. Issei took the tip of the sword and pulled it out where seconds later it healed. Merlin. As I assumed. Ban. You are also an immortal. Issei. A little, but tell me what would have happened if it didn't work right now. I would be dead. Merlin. Something tells me that you won't die so easily. Issei. You're weird. Merlin. They tell me that often. Meliodas. Well, with everything finished it's time for the party. Issei. I like that idea, let's go. Ban. The faster the better. Where the three left the place shouting party. Merlin. I have a feeling those three will cause a lot of trouble. The night passed where there was a little joy for the victory, since that victory came with losses, and that was the fallen soldiers. The next day the group was gathered in the tavern. Meliodas. Now that Eskener has joined us, we only need 3 people to be together. Merlin. One of them will soon join us. Meliodas. Sounds good, and now we have another ally, right Issei? Issei. Something like that. Elizabeth. What do you mean? Issei. Well, I'll go help when I can. The truth is, I'm someone who likes to explore and well, I'll leave today. Meliodas. You don't like to be still. Issei. No, well, I'll go right now, there's something that's been calling me since yesterday afternoon, and I have to look for it. Eskener. Kind of. Issei. I have no idea. But hey, it was a pleasure, we'll see you later. Going to the door. Issei. Don't get into trouble, but I have a feeling you will hahaha. Leaving the building and jumping and turning. It had been a few days since Issei went his own way, and during that time he always came across many demons. But Issei killed them with one hit since he wanted to explore, not fight for the moment. In addition to the fact that he helped some towns during their trip by driving away demons. Meliodas. Sate Issei hasn't wasted his time. Ban. Hahaha, how fun, I hope to see it sometime. They both continued talking and later resumed their path. Meanwhile Issei continued with his journey until he reached some mountains and climbed it, and to his surprise, he arrived at the place that was calling him. Issei. After several days I arrived here, so you were calling me. Seeing someone turned into a rock. Issei approached and was able to communicate mentally. Don't touch me, you dirty human. Issei. Wow, I didn't expect such a reception. And that I came. Be quiet. Issei. What's your name? Alan. I possess the commandment of truth. Issei. Hahaha, it didn't go well, don't tell him, you fought with one of the 7 sins, no. Alan. If I leave here I'll kill you. Issei. I'm sorry, I couldn't have come faster, but I wanted to walk and get to know this place more. The truth is something called me here and well I don't have time. Alan was about to say something, but then Issei hit him, destroying him, and a black sphere entered Issei. Issei. A long journey for this. Taking a step, but then he fell to his knees and many things came to his head. Issei. I got into another problem by having this ability. Starting to walk and how he felt like 9 things were calling him. Issei let out a sigh as he had so many things to do and at the same time he didn't want to do them. Issei. I hope I don't get into trouble by doing all this. Humming down from the mountain and starting to walk through the forest. Issei. Well, the only advantage of this commandment is that no one will be able to lie, it's interesting. As it was getting dark he decided to rest up in the tree while he looked at the stars. Issei. Leaving aside the demons, this place is very nice. But those memories of those wars were horrible. They were like the 3 factions, but here the angels are a little more serious. It's a good thing there isn't someone here by the name of Gabriel. Letting out a sigh for everything that has happened in such a short time. The next day Issei continued on his way, and that's when he came across several demons, and that's when an idea came to him. Issei. Hey, I have a proposal for you. A human wants to talk to us, hahaha, do you want to die? Issei. Yes, whatever you say and you accept. Because you're not going to die soon. Issei. Great. Well, how about we play a game that a friend recommended to me? You guys will give me a hit and I'll give you one, the last one left wins, you like it? How boring, are you going to lose and die at the same time? Well, it will be fun. Issei. Well, you start. The demon took a few steps forward and hit Issei, but he didn't even move from his place. The other demons were surprised when they saw that. Issei. It's my turn. taking a step forward and giving a small blow to the demon, but the demon exploded from several sides. When the other demons saw that, they were scared and ran away, but after just taking a few steps they turned to stone. Issei. Wow, it really worked, it was great. This will make the fights more fun. Returning to his path. Chap. 41. Issei continued on his way until in the distance he saw a large green pig with a canteen on its back. Issei was happy to see that since he knew who it was, and without wasting time he went there jumping and was about to enter through the window to give the surprise, but then he heard how Meliodas was telling his story about how he had that curse and Elizabeth. Issei thoughts. After so many years they still love each other. Meliodas, I admire you, you have never given up despite the situations you have been through, seeing Elizabeth die so many times. You are my friend and I will help you. Forming a smile on his face and entering through the window, leaving everyone surprised. Some who did not know him took refuge. And Issei, how are you doing? Issei. Hey, come on, I was passing by and saw this place and decided to stop by and say hello. And I see there are some that you may not know, like King, Diana, Gother. Issei. A pleasure to everyone, and I see that it is a bad time to come, isn't it? Meliodas. Not at all. Issei walked up to him and put his hand on his shoulder. Issei. I listened to your story with Elizabeth and I will help you with it. Meliodas. I already did everything possible, but nothing worked. Issei. Don't worry, I have a solution. Please give me permission. Meliodas. What will you do? Issei. You trust me. Meliodas saw Issei and nodded and stood up and gave him some space. At that, Issei summoned the true Longinus, and the people who had not seen it were surprised. Issei put the tip of the spear into Elizabeth's heart, and seconds later a great light formed, leaving most of them blind. Diana. What happened? Issei. I removed the curse from her. Everyone opened their mouths in surprise upon hearing that. Issei. This spear is capable of doing many things, and the truth is I don't usually use it, but I'm grateful to have it right now. Merlin. Who gave you that spear? Issei. An old friend, but let's leave that topic for now. Guarding the true Longinus. Issei. Meliodas, come closer, it's your turn. Meliodas. But why do you keep the spear? Issei. You are a demon and if he used it he would hurt you. But I have a solution, but first take off the top part of your armor. Meliodas said nothing and accepted, where he took off his armor and approached Issei. He bit the tip of his big toe. Issei. It will hurt a little, so resist. Meliodas. It doesn't matter. Issei just smiled and began to make seals on Meliodas' abdomen. He began to moan from the pain, but he resisted. At the end of the seal, Issei turned a few times and seconds later the seal disappeared, where Meliodas fell to his knees. Issei. It's all over now. Helping him get up. Meliodas. Can I ask you a question? Issei. Tell me. Meliodas. What happened to the curses? Issei at that moment took off his shirt and several were surprised by some of his scars. But then everyone saw Issei's left arm where there were 2 marks. King. That. Issei. That's right, I have his curses right now. Everyone upon hearing that didn't know what to say about such news. Issei. Don't worry, I'll look for a solution to take it off, I always find one. I'll only have them for a while. Meliodas. Thank you very much, I don't know how to pay you. Issei. You are my friend and that is more than enough. Putting his shirt back on. Seconds later Elizabeth was waking up again. Issei. She will be fine, just a little tired, plus she should train a little to use her angel powers. Merlin. And what were you doing here? Issei. I was just passing by and well I saw them and came to say hello also for something else. Meliodas. And that would be. Issei. Merlin, give me the commandment of pacifism. Merlin. What are you going to do with him? Issei. Honestly, I have no idea, I just know that he's been calling me. Merlin. I don't know. Meliodas. Give it to him, it's no use having it. Merlin just let out a sigh and gave him the jar where he had the commandment. Issei saved it for later. Issei. Thank you, and where are you going? Meliodas. To stop Melascula, who has been causing a lot of trouble. You will come. Issei. It will be interesting. Gother. How are you so strong and where did you get all that from? Issei. Don't try to play with my memories, it's no use. Just saying that. Gother fell to the ground. Diana. Gother, what's wrong with you? Gother. I saw something unique. King. What a thing. At that, Gother pointed in Issei's direction. Gother. I saw him while he held up the universe. Everyone upon hearing that saw Issei again and he was looking in another direction. Issei. You don't think you're exaggerating? Dan. He never lies. Who are you? Issei. Just a traveler. I have seen many very interesting things in my life and over time I have learned. Dan. How old are you? Issei. 2530, nothing more. Merlin. Compared to some here it's not much. But maybe no one saw you in the past. Issei. I was somewhere else maybe, and maybe we crossed paths on one occasion, they just don't remember. But leaving that aside, what would you do now that you no longer have that curse? Meliodas. First end this war and then rest for the first time. Issei. I'll help you, don't worry. That's when Issei saw Escanor and he just looked away knowing what he meant by just seeing him. Diana. But now that you have those curses you won't be able to be happy. Issei. Don't worry about that, plus there are people who can wait for me for a while. Meliodas. Living so long is very sad, especially if you are alone. Issei. I know, there was a time when I was like this, I saw my friends grow up and I trained some of them and I also saw them die. My intention is not to live for so long, everything has a beginning and an end. Merlin. Good luck with that. Issei. Well, I'll go outside for a while to get some air. Leaving the room and leaving the team as they spoke with Elizabeth. While Issei was at the top lying down watching the view of the stars. Issei. So much for my family and friends, I would do anything, and now I carry a great weight, but it doesn't matter, I like to see their happiness. If they are happy I am too. Taking a photo of his entire family. Issei. I have to act out the photo so that the others can appear. Putting it away again and closing your eyes to rest. The next day the group was arriving at the city of Camelot where Meliodas saw his brother and launched an attack. When the others saw that, they went with him. While Issei stayed upstairs watching the situation. Issei. You have a lot of energy, but well, it's time to work too. Taking a jump going to the place of combat. Chap. 42. Several minutes passed and the members of the 7 deadly sins were fighting an army of skeletons. While Meliodas was locked in a black sphere while he tried to get out using all his power, but by doing so he was giving power to the skeletons. For his part, Issei was watching the fight, but at the same time he was looking for Meliodas until he finally found him, and when he did so he entered the sphere. Issei. Wow, this place is very dark, don't you believe it? Meliodas. Maybe he caught you too. Issei. Not at all, I went in on my own to see what it was like. Meliodas. How is the situation outside? Issei. Neither good nor bad, but you should stop expelling your demonic aura since it causes the skeletons to have more power. Meliodas. I see. Returning to its normal state. Issei. And why you don't join the talk is interesting. Who are you? Issei. It's rude not to say one's name before asking. You think you are insensitive like the other one, right? But I'm not the same as before. Issei. Hey Meliodas, who is she? Meliodas. It is Melascula who possesses the commandment of faith. Issei. I see, well we have to find a way to get out of here. Melascula. No one leaves here. Issei. We'll see about that. Balking a little and then he hit it but didn't hit anything. Meliodas. That's not going to work. Issei. I know but I wanted to check something. Well today yes. Giving a big applause with great force causing the sphere to open and at the same time causing a great disaster in its wake. Meliodas. That was great. Issei. I think I exaggerated hahaha. Melascula. I will kill you. Launching several attacks with demonic power that Issei received squarely but did not have any injuries. Issei. It wasn't bad, that's all you got. Melascula. What kind of human are you? Issei. An ordinary one, although now that I see you well. Approaching her and being face to face. Issei. You are very cute, it's a shame we are enemies. Melascula, upon hearing that, opened her mouth wider. Melascula. And now. Issei. You're still just as cute. Did you think it would scare me? How little self-esteem you have, and I've seen worse things. Putting his hand on Melascula's forehead and showing her some of her enemies. Melascula didn't know what to think when he saw so many terrifying things. Issei. Compared to them you are normal, but well, let's stop playing games. Hitting her in the abdomen causing her to spit out blood and fly out of the place. Melascula came out of the rubble with some injuries, but she healed instantly and left there. At that she crossed paths with the rest of the members and smiled since she could finish them off. Seconds later she turned into a large snake and went to attack. Melascula. At least I'll take them with you. Merlin. Run from there. While Melascula attacked those who were closest to her, and that was Ban who barely managed to save himself from her. Issei. Your fight is with me because you escaped. Hearing that voice, Melascula turned around and saw Issei sitting in a ruined building. Issei, catching her attention, jumped and activated the Susanoo. Several people were surprised to see that since they had never seen such power. Issei. I would like it to be a long battle, but I don't have that much time you know. Walking and causing a tremor with every step. Seeing that, Melascula threw the poison at her, but when she gave it to Issei, it didn't affect him at all. Issei approached the snake and grabbed it by the face with one of his hands. Issei. You should have realized how I kill my enemies, right? Melascula. You are a monster, you are worse than the Demon King. Issei. It could be but who knows. But hey, I hope you have had fun during your life, but it's time for you to rest. He raised one hand and then created a red sphere in her hand and then placed it on Melascula's head, where seconds later it began to disappear in a single instant. At the end a black sphere was where Issei was where he entered instantly. Issei came down from the sky while being close to Ban, and at that moment he hit him with a blow that didn't even move Issei's face. King. Ban, stop it, don't do it. Ban. But Elaine, if she died so would she. Elaine. Sooner or later this had to happen. Ban. Tell me Issei, do you have a solution, right? He received no response and at that Ban just looked down. Issei. Obviously I have one of her, she will not die now, I have her command and I will let her live as long as she wants. It doesn't matter if I die first, she will still be alive. Everyone was happy when they heard that. Issei. Before talking or hitting you should let people talk, you know. Ban. You must understand. Issei. And I don't blame you since I would have done the same. Although tell me what happened to Meliodas that made him go crazy in an instant. Merlin. His demonic powers are consuming him. Right now Eskner is trying to stop it. Issei. They seem like children when they allow themselves to be easily guided. Letting out a sigh and going to the place of combat. Gother. The captain's power is 142,000, you won't be able to beat him like that anymore. Issei. Well, who knows. Just by taking the first step, both Merlin and Gother noticed how the power began to rise very quickly and were surprised to see how it reached 100,000 in an instant. But he kept going up and when he reached both fighters, they both noticed that his power was 200,000. Merlin. So I hide the power from him. Ban. He's very big so that's his limit. Diana. Could be. At that Issei removed Meliodas' foot from Eskener's head. Issei. They are friends, they shouldn't fight. Meliodas. Maybe you want to die again. Issei. What a change in attitude, it reminds me of some friends. But hey, it's time for you to come back to reality. Meliodas. And how will you do it? Issei just smiled at him and seconds later his fist was in Meliodas' abdomen, where seconds later he was crashing through the entire barrier that Merlin had created. Issei. I like the happy version of you better, this one is very boring. Taking Meliodas by the neck, he passed his dagger across Issei's eyes, but still didn't let go. Seconds later his eyes were as always. Issei. That's all you have and I was told you were the leader of the 10 commandments before. I'll tell you the truth Meliodas. Approaching him and whispering in his ear so that no one hears. Issei. You are weak and the reason is because you let yourself be guided by your anger. Seconds later Issei hit him several times in the stomach, causing Meliodas to only spit out blood, but he was able to free himself from his grip. The others didn't know what to say as they noticed how their captain was being crushed by just one person. Seconds later Meliodas fainted and returned to his true form. Issei placed him on the ground carefully. At that Merlin removed the barrier and everyone went. Issei for his part just stretched. Diana. You had no compassion for him. Elizabeth. There was no other option, he had let himself be guided. Issei. I'll go for a walk, see you later. The others nodded and with that Issei left the place. Chap. 43. The group had returned to the Mackerel to continue their journey, but Meliodas was left in poor condition from the battle. Eskner for his part, thanks to Issei, it wasn't that bad, but it was a little tired. Meanwhile, Elizabeth locked herself with Meliodas in a barrier so she could take better care of him. For his part, Issei was on the terrace of the building watching the sky. Issei. It's coming. Seconds later someone entered the cabin. Issei, for his part, went downstairs and saw an old man there. Issei. Merlin who is the old man. Merlin. He is Meliodas' teacher. Issei. I see, let me guess, you're coming for no. And who are you, although the truth is that it doesn't matter, I will take Mr. Meliodas. Issei. I'm sorry but that will be impossible. And you think that a human without magical power will stop me hahaha. Issei. Have they not told you that it is not good to underestimate your enemy? The old man was about to say something, but Issei moved from his position and hit him in the face, knocking him out of the place. How dare you touch me with your dirty hands? Issei. I don't feel like listening to your nonsense, you know, I feel like you're going to tell me the same words that others say to me. I'm going to kill them. He extended his hands and seconds later a shower of meteorites fell where he approached the place every time. When he was about to reach Issei he just extended his hand. Issei. Shinra Tensei. Deflecting the attack and giving it to the old man who, seeing that his attack was going against him, created a shield to defend himself. Issei. That won't be enough right? Clearing the smoke while the old man was recovering. Damn human, consider yourself dead. Owing to the attack Issei on his part did not want to prolong the battle, so he teleported behind him old man. And when he noticed that, he stopped and looked to the sides, but out of nowhere, he spit out a lot of blood and looked down at him, and he had a spear embedded in him. Little by little he felt more pain from the sacred power. Issei. You know I'm someone who likes to have a good fight, but only when we're alone, but unfortunately for you there are people present. It was a pleasure to meet Meliodas' teacher. He stuck the spear deeper, causing the old man to scream more in pain. Where seconds later he died and Issei, noticing, destroyed his body so as not to have any more problems later. At the end he returned to the group where they were surprised. Issei. Something's wrong. Diana. You're great, you defeated him without much difficulty. Issei. It wasn't that bad. King. But you say clearly that it was, you defeated the captain's teacher. Your teacher must have been very strong for you to be yes. Issei. Maybe. At that Issei walked a little towards Meliodas. Elizabeth was about to say something, but at that moment Issei grabbed him by the neck and threw him out of the cabin. Everyone, seeing that, didn't know what to say and Elizabeth without wasting time went to Meliodas. Merlin. Hey, what do you think you're doing? Issei did not respond and went to the exit like the rest, and when they arrived they were surprised to see Meliodas already awake, but in his demonic version. Issei. Because you were pretending to be unconscious, Meliodas. Meliodas. I was getting my power back. You're not as stupid as I thought. Issei. What can I say, there are times where I think a little and well about what you will do from now on. Meliodas. I'll go talk to my brother and from now on the 7 deadly sins cease to exist. And don't worry, I'll come for you soon, Issei, since we have pending accounts. Issei. Anytime, Meliodas, but you should know one thing, and that is that you won't have a chance since I will bring my friend again. Meliodas didn't say anything and turned around leaving the place. And. Because they left if they no longer possessed the curse. Issei. There are things you have to solve but it doesn't matter. Turning around and taking a seat. For seconds later the others also did it and there was a great silence. Issei. Merlin, I need a favor. Merlin. What's wrong? Issei. I want to go to Purgatory. Everyone upon hearing that was even more surprised. Merlin heard such a request and saw Issei calm. Merlin. Maybe you're crazy and have any idea how I'll do that. Issei. Look at the pig and you'll know. Merlin didn't understand until he saw Hawk's eyes and was surprised to notice. Merlin. How did you know? Issei. Since I saw it for the first time I realized it, but I wanted to know what he would do so I didn't say anything. And what are you going to do there? Issei. As I know, there are very strong creatures in Purgatory. Diana. Just for that reason. Issei. I wish to be stronger. King. But you're too strong so you want more power. Issei. I have to protect my family. Dother. And where are they? Diana. Besides, you have never told us about them. At that Issei took a photo and shot Diana. When she saw it, her eyes widened. The others noticed that they also approached and had the same expression. King. Who are they? Issei. They are my partners along with my daughters, sister and niece. And there are many truthful jokes. Issei. I'm telling the truth. King. Wow, I wouldn't know what to say, except that you have a great family. Merlin. Now I have the answer. Eskener. Oh Miss Merlin. Merlin. You don't belong to this world, don't you? Issei. You're smart, I knew you'd figure it out quickly. Diana. Wait. So what are you doing here? Issei. Investigating. Well, I think so since in the end I only have fun exploring and fighting. Merlin. What kind of magic is it to achieve that? Issei. It's a secret, I'm sorry. King. What is your world like? Issei. Something like this where there are demons and angels too, but they get along well there. And how is that possible? Issei. They got tired of so many wars and reached an agreement. Taking the photo and pointing at a person. Issei. Her name is Gabriel and she is an archangel. She is very kind and pretty and she always takes care of those around her. Her name is Griselda and an angel who knows how to use a sword very well taught me a little. She is my childhood friend and her name is Irina, she is always very happy. From this given this Erafel she is a Mau, let's say like a demon king, she is very cheerful too. Everyone upon hearing that was surprised to hear that he had the title of demon king. Issei. This is Graphia, she is also a demon who helped a lot. She is Ingvald, she is half demon and half human. She is Lucina and is a descendant of the first demon king. She likes to fight, but she takes care of her family. This is Isabella, she is a former demon queen. And wait, what kind of couples you were going to get? Maybe they don't fight in the house because they are of different races. Issei. They don't get along very well at all. And they help each other. Merlin. And who is the girl with the witch hat? Issei. She is my childhood friend too and she is Leffe Pendragon. Merlin, upon hearing her last name, was surprised. Issei. I knew Arthur, you know, and also Merlin, only in the male version haha, they were both very energetic. Diana. And who are the others? Issei. I'll only say a few since I don't think you can resist surprises. Hawk. It's no big deal. Issei. Well, she is Office, she is a dragon goddess, more specifically, she is the dragon goddess of infinity. At that moment Issei heard how Hawk fell to the ground. Issei. I told you. Diana. Well, it's not much, tell me more. Issei. This is Mikishin, she is an angel who is capable of destroying universes with just the snap of her fingers. This time most of them fell to the ground from such a surprise. And you're kidding, right? Issei. Well, the truth is, it's better to leave it like this. I don't think they can take it anymore. Saving the photo. Issei. Merlin, now that you know why I want to improve, you would do me a favor. Merlin. Okay. Taking a few steps forward and starting to say a few words. Issei. I'll be back and I wish you luck. That's when she saw Eskiner. Issei. If you overuse your power, you know what will happen, right? Eskner. I am aware and I do not regret anything. Issei. I see, I hope to see you. Eskner. That's how it will be, we have a pending battle. Issei just nodded and with that he was teleported to Purgatory. Chap. 44. Issei was walking through Purgatory and a few days had already passed in the human world, but several years had already passed there. Issei. So long and no creature is strong enough. He expected more from this place. Letting out a sigh and with that he continued on his way until a creature stood in front of him and Issei just nodded where they both went to attack. As the hours passed, Issei was sitting in front of the creature since it didn't cost him much. Issei. You know, I didn't expect such a meeting hahaha. You know your beloved is waiting for you. He said it, seeing the red sky and seconds later a great light was seen where seconds later there was the figure of Meliodas where he began to wake up and he was surprised to see Issei. Meliodas. Issei, what are you doing here? Issei. Well, I wanted to train a little and I came here. But I didn't know you'd be here. Meliodas. Hahaha, nothings. Issei. And you say it. Meliodas. Because you look so calm, whenever someone enters this place they go crazy. Issei. I always have my loved ones present and I can't let myself be guided by madness. Meliodas. You know how things are outside. Issei. Neither good nor bad, your teacher came to look for you and well, in the end he died. Be careless. Meliodas. I understand and Elizabeth. Issei. Your dark version took her to find a solution I guess. Meliodas. You act very calm despite the dangers that existed. Issei. There are things I can't do. Your friends can't since they are like your family. You trust them no. Meliodas. Obviously yes. But well, now what will we do since we are here? Issei. Well, I'm already bored of being here, how about we go back so you can be with your partner? Meliodas. I like that idea and you know where the door is to leave. Issei. Of course and to your surprise your father takes care of her. Meliodas. How do you know that? Issei. When I arrived I felt a great demonic power and well, I assumed it would be him. Meliodas. What do we hope, let's get out of here. Issei nodded and with that they both set off and after a few hours of travel, they took a break to eat. Meliodas. Do you think this war will end one day? Issei. Yes it ends, but you know when one war ends another begins. The world without wars cannot exist, there will always be conflicts. Meliodas. You have traveled for so many years, but I have never seen you. Because you decide to show me so far. Issei. I was training alone so that's the reason. Meliodas. I see. In the future we can fight again. Issei. Who knows? I don't usually fight for fun only when the occasion warrants it. Meliodas. I always see you happy or calm because as I remember, I haven't seen you upset. Issei. You only live once Meliodas and you have to enjoy life. Meliodas. You speak like an old man hahaha. Issei. Over time you meet many people and well they teach you some things. But there were also fun moments like the parties. Meliodas. You're right about that. Meanwhile in the human world 3 archangels had joined the humans to stop the demon clan where the war had started. Estarossa had obtained some commandments but with so much power and that he was rejected he went crazy where several joined together to stop him but nothing. In Purgatory, both Issei and Meliodas continued on their path and that's when they met Hawk's brother Wild. The 3 continued on their way until they reached the door but a thick voice stopped them. Meliodas. You. Demon King. You've come far and you won't get out of here. If you do, you'll only ruin my plans more. Plus you brought that human who has ruined some of my plans and has 3 of my commandments. Issei. Thank you for the gift. Meliodas, there are things that only you should solve. I wish you luck. Meliodas. What do you mean? Issei. I know you are strong Meliodas, but you must awaken your power and what better opportunity than this. You must remember the reason why you fight. Without waiting for a response, he left the place, leaving Meliodas alone in front of his father. Meliodas didn't know what to say, but he shook his head and got serious to fight. Wild. Hey, why don't you help him? Issei. You think that everything is easy in life if he wants to return to his beloved he must overcome this obstacle, but if he doesn't have that spark he will lose. Wild. Still. Issei. You trust okay. He didn't say anything and watched as Meliodas fought the Demon King but nothing. Hours passed and Meliodas had some injuries and he was tired. Issei let out a sigh and got up from his seat and went to him. He grabbed him by the neck and threw him out the door. Issei. I wish you luck. Meliodas. That with you? Issei did not respond and Meliodas only saw Issei's back as a purple blur approached him. Demon King. You are very stupid to stay here alone. Issei. I have fought with several demon kings, and the truth is you are the ugliest of all. Demon king. Those will be your last words before you die. Issei. Maybe, but you know it's not my duty to defeat you, that's up to someone else, but no one said anything about beating you up. The demon king was about to say something, but then he received a blow to the face, where he fell to the ground. Issei. I hope that title helps and you fight with all your strength. The demon, upon hearing that, got up angry with his great sword and went to attack Issei. In the human world, the other members of the deadly sins were in front of a cocoon, trying to stop Meliodas from leaving, where both Zeldris and his teachers did everything possible so that they would not succeed. After a long battle where Male joined to try to defeat him, the cocoon opened where they were surprised to see Meliodas come out with a smile. Meliodas. Stay a while without seeing you guys. When everyone heard that, they were happy and went to give him a hug since they were happy to see him again. Cusack took Zeldris and took him along with the remaining 7 sins. And? I'm glad you're okay, Captain. Meliodas. I say the same and also. Approaching Hawk and where he said something and seconds later a purple march came out and everyone was surprised by a big pig. Hawk approached him and was surprised by the resemblance and seconds later they both hugged each other and started crying. King. Hey, and you saw Issei in Purgatory. Hearing that, Meliodas looked down and changed his joy for sadness. Elizabeth. Something happened there. Meliodas. Issei stayed there to save me. Everyone upon hearing that didn't know what to say, although not long ago they met Issei, they quickly took a liking to him because of his way of being. And? We still had an unfinished battle. Eskener? With me too. Merlin? I wanted to get more information about more magic from his world. Meliodas? What do you mean by that? Elizabeth? How is that? Diana? It's a long story, I'll tell you later. Meliodas. Elizabeth, come with me, help me find a person just so I can fulfill the promise I made with Zeldris. And? See you at the bar. Meliodas nodded and with that they both left the place and the rest of the battlefield while the archangels left there. Chap. 4. 5. Cusack had Zeldris lying down to give them the remaining 7 commandments since they could not find the other 3. At the end, Zeldris's body grew a little more and Cossack was happy to see how his student was going to become the next demon king, but then his body began to destroy itself. Demon king. Finally free, but I still lack power and everything because of that human. But now I'm here and he's locked up there forever. Starting to walk to the exit. Meanwhile in Purgatory, Issei was sitting watching all the destruction that occurred after the battle. Issei. We managed to escape in time, but well, maybe it's time to go back too. Now that I think about it, Qian Rengsu's cultivation hasn't risen much. I'll ask Shichigami a favor if she lets me take her back to her world so she can train. I'm already getting excited about how much my teammates have improved. Forming a smile on her face and getting up and walking a little since the door had been destroyed by the Demon King before he left. While in the human world the deadly sins were buried that the Demon King had come out and without wasting time they went in search of him. Meliodas. You shouldn't be here. Demon King. This was my destiny to leave that place, but it had to be in your body, not this one, but it's not bad. Meliodas. What happened to Issei? Demon King. He couldn't resist any of my blows and he died. When the boys heard that, they felt sad, but they put it aside since they had to stop him first. At that, the entire group went on the attack while Meliodas tried to wake up Zeldris, but everything was in vain. In Purgatory, Issei had already explored enough and besides that he had nothing better to do since no creature was approaching him. Issei. I think it's time to go back. Taking a step and teleporting at that moment, appearing in the cavern. Upon leaving it he felt the power of his companions and took flight. In the battle, both Gother and Meliodas were knocked unconscious, so they went to look for Zeldris in the spirit world while the rest stopped the Demon King. Eskner previously called Male to ask for the power of the sun one last time, where he had already joined the combat. Gelda, Zeldris's bride, also went to help wake up her lover from her trance. Issei had already arrived at his destination but decided not to go fight since he wanted to see if his friends could break his limits, but at the same time he was sad to see someone. Issei. Eskner, I admire you, you will give everything of yourself to save your friends. You are a great warrior. Giving a sad smile and seeing how he released all of his power to his limits and fighting alongside his companions. The battle continued where the deadly sins were having the advantage and even more so when Meliodas and Gother woke up. And minutes later Gelda where everyone could see 7 spheres between black and purple that were separating from Zeldris and at the end Gelda went to take Zeldris in her arms. Everyone thought it was over, but then they felt tremors and a great rock formed by mountains. Trees and other things formed where many people could see and were scared. Issei was going to go help, but he noticed that the boys had a smile on their faces, provoking the Demon King to notice that he took his seat again and watched as the boys put all their attacks together and went all out to put an end to it. When the fight was over, the spheres rose and went to Issei, entering his body. At that moment Issei felt great pain but managed to control himself in time. Issei. I don't understand why they want to be with me. Letting out a sigh and seeing how his companions celebrate, but that happiness did not last long because they saw Eskener, where he said goodbye to all of her friends and finally met Merlin, where he confessed his love for her. Everyone was crying as they would never see his friend again. Eskener. Our battle will never take place, Issei. Everyone felt sad when they heard that, but they heard a voice. Issei. You are a great fighter, Eskener, you know, I admire you for giving everything you have for your friends. I hope in your next life you are a happy man. Walking towards him and extending his hand with a smile, where he took it with a smile as well. Issei shed a tear since the least thing he likes is saying goodbye to his friends, but that was destiny. At that point Eskener's body began to disappear into several particles of fire where he passed by his friends. Issei, upon seeing that, took one of those particles and gave a big release, going to the sky and then leaving the planet towards the sun, where Issei's clothes burned, but the nobleman became important. Upon arrival Issei knelt in the sun and placed Eskener's flame there. Issei. Someone as big as you belongs in this place. Getting up and leaving the place, and along the way he put his clothes back on. Meliodas. Issei, where did you go? Issei. I went to the sun to leave it where it belongs. Elizabeth. We're glad you're alive. Issei. I'm glad to see you too. Someone was about to say something, but then Rita fell in front of Issei, where everyone was surprised, even Male. Issei. This is not from Eskener. Male. I guess Sunshine decided on the new wielder for her. Issei. As far as I know it's your grace, no. Male. I was, but years ago I committed a sin and he left my side. I hope you can help many people with it. Where at the end of saying that she left there. For his part, Issei stared at the axe for a bit and after a few seconds he took it with her hand and raised it to the sky. And. If you are already strong, I don't want to know how strong you will be with that power. Issei just smiled upon hearing that and put it away. Issei. Now that everything is over, what will they do? King. I'm marrying Diana and obviously you're invited. Issei. Thank you, and wow, that changed yours. King. It is the power of the fairy king. Issei. I'm happy for you. And you. Meliodas. I do the same with Elizabeth. And. With Elaine, and you must go to all our weddings, and if you escape I will beat you up. Issei. Hahaha, I'll be there. Don't worry, I'll be on the lookout for those dates, but before that I'll go exploring, see you later. Without waiting for a response she left the place. The others just let out a sigh at his attitude and left too. Time passed where the deadly sins helped Arthur with his problem of controlling his power, where it turned out well in the end. For his part, Issei went to various places, meeting many people along the way. And after a while she went to the first wedding, being King and Diana, where he gave them a great gift. And then she went to the others, and just after finishing she decided to go traveling, since she had many places to see. Years passed, more specifically 11 years, where the deadly sins had already affected his family. During that time Issei only returned to the capital once, where he found out about Elizabeth's pregnancy, which he congratulated. And they proposed to him to be the godfather of their son, which Issei happily accepted. Meliodas and Elizabeth's child named Tristas was sneaking into the castle until his mother saw him. Tristan. Mom, we have to go, the deadly sins are coming to attack the city, and father is their leader. Elizabeth, upon hearing that, just smiled, and Tristan was about to say that until her father spoke to him, and Tristan, upon seeing him with the other members, got scared. Diana. You didn't tell him the truth. Meliodas. That was more fun. And. I should have done the same with mine. At that everyone laughed, but at the same time they heard another voice there and were surprised to know who it was. Issei. Despite the years, you do not change. Meliodas. Issei, how long? Tristan. Mom, who is he? Elizabeth. He is your godfather, his name is Igarashi Issei, and he is very strong. Tristan. Seriously, but not as much as dad. Meliodas. I'm sorry for disappointing you, but Issei beat me up without breaking a sweat, hahaha. Tristan. Seriously great. Meliodas. Hey, aren't you worried that they'll beat me? Tristan. A little, but now I have someone to train me. Hearing that, Issei laughed a little and approached him. Issei. Tristan has grown up like this, although it's the first time we've met. You look a lot like your parents. Meliodas. So you have a daughter who seems like. Issei didn't finish and hit him on the head that left him buried in the ground. Issei. Hahaha, but what are you saying, Meliodas? There are things that are impossible to achieve. And. You're right, that's why it will be with him. It didn't end as he was also buried in the ground by Issei. When the others saw that, they didn't say anything, but Tristan had stars in his eyes from admiration. At that they both got up and laughed about it, and later they went outside the castle where the citizens celebrated. Tristan didn't understand why until Gother showed him everything that happened and he shed a tear. Issei. You have great parents, Tristan, you're lucky. He just nodded, and with that the party started where everyone was happy. Issei, for his part, went out to the balcony to get some air and then Meliodas arrived. Meliodas. No, how time flies. Issei. Yes, but they were still good times. Meliodas. Issei, can I ask you a question? Issei. Go ahead. Meliodas. Because the commandments have not consumed you since it is a lot of power or because you do not suffer for it. Issei. And who said I don't suffer? You know, Meliodas, ever since I started getting abilities I started to feel a lot of pain. Meliodas. But you are always seen with a smile and calm. Issei. If everyone sees me suffer they are going to worry and that is what I want the least. The only thing I want is to see the smile of my family and friends, not sadness. That's why I keep that suffering in the depths of my being. Meliodas. I see you are someone great. Do you want to go to lunch with us in the countryside? Issei. Meliodas, I will leave tomorrow. Meliodas. I see but you won't go. Issei. Sure. Meliodas. Then let's have fun one last time. Issei nodded and they both turned around and when they did, the other members of the group were there. Where they only gave a half smile and went to give him a great farewell. The next day Issei was with Meliodas and Tristan where the boy tried to hit Meliodas with his sword. Issei. Keep it up Tristan, I know you can. Tristan. I understand. Minutes later Elizabeth called them to eat. Issei stood at Tristan's height so he could speak. Issei. I know they will achieve great things in the future, so protect your parents. Triton. He'll leave again. Issei. My family is waiting for me too. Elizabeth. Then it's time. You were a great friend Issei and thank you for everything you did for us. Issei. Thank you for your friendship. Giving a hug to Elizabeth and one to Tristan where he gave it to her since he became fond of Issei. After that he went to Meliodas where they just nodded since they had said a lot to each other a long time ago. At that Issei jumped to leave and upon landing on the ground he called Chichigami where the portal was created and where he was able to return to his house. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.